Hey ghosties, this is Harley.
And this is Candace.
And this is Haunted Through the Ages.
Here we are. We're back.
Nighttime recording is much more fun. I think we found our groove.
We're in the pocket.
In the nighttime recording.
After, a festive holiday of stupid... Well, I didn't work today, so...
I had a lot going on today.
You were busy.
I did. This is like the first time I've sat down today.
You were busy.
And it's 8:30. Yeah, but it was good. How was your day with your grandbabies?
Wonderful. We had my pickle had her end of the year field trip, and we went to the zoo, and
Fun.
It was fun. It was so fun, actually. She had like a little scavenger hunt paper, so literally she was reading off the paper, like everything was the paper. Where's my paper? I need my paper. Gotta have the paper.
That's surprising. Most of the kids are like,
and she wasn't checking anything off, but she had, these are the things that she was going to see. She was promised to see these.
Oh, that's so cute.
Butterfly
was it,
House.
like, the different exhibits.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wanted to see the lions and the tigers. So, I don't think we ever actually found them because I think the tiger was sleeping, but the lions were just like toast. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
Zebras was the thing. Like, she needed to see zebras. We never saw the zebras. Couldn't find the little things.
Really?
Couldn't find them. No. And then Rhiannon sent me a picture of the map and was like, we just didn't go back far enough. Like, whatever. They were sleeping. We told her that they were sleeping. Like, they were not there. They were off visiting relatives or something. They just weren't there today. I was in Royal Oak.
It's called the Detroit Zoo.
Yes, we were at the Detroit Zoo.
The zebras are right past.
They're past the giraffes. No, it's I don't know when the last time was you've been there.
Last summer.
Okay, well, I don't know when the last time was. I was there then because everything was moved for me. Like, I hadn't been there. I told Rhiannon, I don't think I've been there since before she had the babies.
Really? Because I think it's lions.
Nope.
And then a break, like a pathway. Rhinos, and then you go around the curve, and that goes into the zebras and stuff. And then when you go around the other curve, it's the giraffes.
No, that's where the safari area is. The lions were actually, the picture that I saw, the lions were up front next to the camels. And the zebras used to be with the camels, for me.
You know what? When we were there last summer, actually, you're probably right.
They were doing all sorts of construction.
When you're walking through to the back, the whole left side of the zoo was completely shut down. So that would make sense. They probably
did a lot of moving things around. Like everybody's got new homes.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So
next time I go, because I'm so used to, I've been going there.
And you can't get a map
years.
anymore. Like, they have maps posted, but you basically have to download the app to follow along now.
For fuck's sake.
And I see people walking around Dippin' Dots. Do you think I could find a fucking Dippin' Dot station? Absolutely not.
There was one last summer right outside of the Butterfly House.
Everybody had them. Like, they're walking around with cups. I'm like, I'm literally going to tackle somebody. And let me tell you, I've never wanted to tackle a 5-year-old so bad in my life.
I have.
Because she got a little vicious with my little green girl in school. Now they're best friends, but it's fine.
Changes every day.
But this was the one that judged my daughter, asking her why is it purple underneath your eyes? I don't like your hair.
Where were her parents?
It was during school. Rhiannon was dropping off the pickle for school, and the little girl was literally like, I don't like your hair. Why is it purple underneath your eyes? And she's like, because I'm a mom and I don't sleep.
What an asshole.
She's a brat, but then she wants to be coming over and sitting next to my little pickle and holding her hands, and they're giving each other hugs, and Brandon's like, that's her right there, and I'm like, I'm a tripper.
It changes every day, I swear. Like, my kid comes home, and one day this person is his best friend. They're so great. They had so much fun together. The next day, it's like, he took my marker, and then she colored on my paper when we were doing it. I don't like her. We're not friends anymore. I'm like, wow.
Pickle was at
Your
recess,
friendships are not strong.
chasing a little boy, and then, I don't know, maybe the girl was just like, no, he's mine, back up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But she just chasing him around, and the little girl comes over and pushes her, and I'm like, did you tackle her? Look, at that point, it's self-defense. That little girl threw hands, like... Mm-hmm. So I'm like, look, bring my little girl over here. We're going to teach her self-defense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because when Rhiannon was little, I'm telling you, she wasn't having it. She wasn't having it. These high school kids are walking through, and Rhiannon's out there. She's probably 5, 6 years old, playing with her basketball, and you can't touch my ball. And they're like, relax, kid. We don't want your ball.
Just settle down. We're just passing by.
I'll tell on you. Don't you think about touching my ball. I'm like, Rhiannon, seriously. Calm it down, sister.
Like, you're going to get my ass kicked. You better stop.
And then she stands next to Dreama, and Dreama's just like, hey, look, you're on your own. I ain't doing shit. But
mine yelled at a kid in class the other day because I went in to help. The teacher was doing this big painting project. So me and one of the other moms volunteered to go in. We had the kids in the hallway one at a time, like running through this project. And I didn't tell him I was coming, so I just walked into class.
Oh,
and he,
fun.
And he jumped up off the carpet and he ran over. He gave me a lip kiss, which I don't get anymore because it's uncool.
Oh, no.
I got one at school, so I was very excited. He gave me hugs. He was loving on me. It was so exciting.
I love that.
All the things he's like too cool for right now. He was so happy. But then one of the little girls, it was like his on again, off again little girlfriends, you know.
Because he has so many.
The elementary drama. Every day there's something new, I swear. I'm like, I can't handle this. I feel like I'm watching Real World right now. I can't do this.
Jersey Shore
Literally.
all over again.
She walked by me. I was talking to one of the other kids, and she walked by me, and I felt somebody like brush up against my back, but I didn't pay attention. And I see him, they were standing in line getting ready to go out, and I see him turn around in line. He goes, "Don't touch my mom."
Ooh, no.
So then that caused a little riff. The drama.
Oh my God.
I'm glad to know it's not just mine.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not. It gets ugly. Like, these kids are ugly. Like, there was this one little girl there. I don't know who she was. She was beautiful. Dark hair, olive skin, these crystal blue eyes. And
what a combo.
Oh my God, she was gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
She had like a Middle Eastern look about her, but she was absolutely stunning. And she had to have been about 4 or 5. Like, she was teeny tiny. Because when we first got there and like looking around, it was all of the little kids.
Yeah.
But by the time we left, 10 hours later.
We need to pause. She starts complaining to me about how her forehead feels burnt. I'm like, from what? She was being outside for 10 hours at the zoo. I'm like, what the fuck did you do at the zoo for 10 hours? She's like, we were there from 10 to 2 and it got quiet. And I said, that's 4 hours. She said, yeah, but I'm Irish, so that's 6.
Thank you. Everybody with clear skin and red hair understands me right now. Yeah.
I don't have the
it's
red
times
hair,
8,000 when you
I'm
the whole time
Randall's
like, I should have brought sun. And I was wearing a hoodie because it was only like 60 degrees. Well, it claimed it was like 67, but it felt like 60. It didn't. It felt like 8,000 because I was wearing a hoodie.
Well, there was a cool
holding
breeze,
babies.
but it was humid too.
Oh, it was so humid.
So the humidity
going into
made it
this
bad.
butterfly house, stupid humid.
gosh.
Reptile house, stupider even humid. Humid.
Humid plus reptiles.
My gosh. And then we have to look at every single one of the snakes. Why? They look the same. Why?
Because she said so.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And your grandma, and you do what she says.
Let me correct you on that one. I'm a Mimi.
Yes.
Because
I'm sorry, you are
I'm
a
way
Mimi.
too cool to be a grandma.
telling yourself that.
And we had to go to the penguin house twice because we
Oh,
couldn't find the zebras. So, like, let's make up for it and go back into the penguin house.
find another black and white animal, I guess.
But it was, I mean,
Well, that one's pretty cool 'cause it's the ship.
it's so different when you take your grandkids
Mm-hmm.
or little kids, any little kids, but
Mhm.
mine are grandkids because, I mean, I took the girls when they were little quite often because literally the zoo's as much as I hate seeing the animals contained and I feel like they should be in their natural habitat, at least right now they're being safe.
They're safe. They're cared for.
Yes.
They're,
Yes. Oh, and you know the big, this is how dumb my kids are.
Oh, Lord. What?
The big out in front of the Detroit Zoo, if anybody's never been there, they have this water tower and
The famous water tower.
and it has the Detroit Zoo wrote around it.
And pictures of all the
And
animals.
pictures of all the animals.
So you can see it for miles. You know what's coming.
God bless my kids. Just God
What?
bless them. Dreama literally told Rana that that's where they put the animals at night. My beautiful little soul of a child. I had no idea any of this happened. I was oblivious that this conversation ever happened until Rana says to me when we're going to the zoo or we're driving past it, whatever the situation was. And she's probably going to be so mad at me for telling this story, but this is my favorite story to tell. She says to me, well, I get all the other animals, but how do they get the elephants up there? Like, what are you talking
got the other
about?
animals?
She got it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was fine. That clicked in her head.
I love her line of logic.
Absolutely.
I'm impressed.
Absolutely perfect. But the elephants are huge. Elephants are huge. But how did they get the elephants up there? So now I'm thinking that's probably why they don't have elephants anymore because they can't fit them in the water tower. I'm all like, Rhiannon, what are you talking about? Trying to drive and not, smash into the side of the wall in laughter because I'm absolutely dumbfounded. And she was like, well, Dreama said that's where they put them. Dreama.
That's funny.
Like, what? Yeah, Dream said that, for nighttime, that's where they put the animals to bed. They put them all up in there. And I'm like, oh, honey, I love you. You're so pretty. You're so pretty.
I've been told that a time or two. I feel your pain.
You're so pretty.
My mom just said that
when
to me
we're
like a
leaving
couple
today,
weeks ago.
guess what Mimi did?
Did you tell
I
the kids?
certainly did. I certainly did. Because we've just parked in the regular driveway. We didn't park in the structure.
Right.
And then there was the wraparound to walk up to the top floor of the parking structure.
Yep.
And Little Pickle says to me, Mimi, what's that for? I said, oh, honey, they take the animals and they walk up that. And that's where And Rana was like,
oh, no.
Mom, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's got to come down. Like, which is now how easy it was for Dreama to say something. But I mean, and bless Miranda's beautiful little naive soul because Dreama could do no wrong. She believed everything that Dreama said.
Right.
Like, this is my big sister. Why would she lie to me?
Right.
Like the very first time that Dreama ever used a pogo stick on her birthday and told Rhiannon, lay down and let me jump over you. You almost killed my baby. She's like, but did she die?
She was fine.
Like, calm down.
Let's stop the
Hey,
drama.
I don't want to know any more of anything that happened when I was not watching.
Nope. No, you don't.
I certainly don't.
I don't know it, but I can tell you that you don't.
There was a battle, and Rhiannon wanted the remote, and Dreama had the remote, so Dreama chucked the remote at Rhiannon's face, and there was tears, and she's like, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Don't tell mom.
Don't tell mom.
Don't tell mom. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine."
I'm so sorry. Don't tell mom.
Here, you want a cookie? Don't tell her that either, because they weren't allowed to eat if I wasn't home, because you could choke.
Of course, yeah.
Did they listen? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, my life and adventures.
I'm glad you had fun. You were very excited for this.
I was so excited. Months ago, she told me about this, and she's like, "Make sure you take the day off," which of course came up to writing the schedule, and I'm like, "Oh shit, why do I need this day off?" I requested 2 days off. I couldn't tell you why I needed the second day off. Like, I needed the second, and I requested the 7th. And I'm like, what's happening on the 7th? She's like, I don't know, but I feel like it has something to do with me. I have no idea. Well, I'm not taking the day off now. I don't know. I don't know why I needed it, but
that's funny.
So yeah, she was like, the zoo was on the 2nd. I'm like, okay, I remember that one now. You know, you think I would write this stuff down, you know.
You would think.
I don't.
That's all right. I still call my mom for my stuff. I'm like, I feel like I did something to my schedule for this day. What was going on? she's like, didn't you have this? I'm like, oh
yeah,
that's right. There's just so much going on. I can't keep it straight. I've had to start using my planner again with all the new stuff going on too. I'm like, it's just too much.
You're so good at, you know, updating that. And Renan is too. I mean, she has this calendar on her refrigerator, and you know, Dream is really good at scheduling too, because she's been. I mean, she works at, you know, for physicians, so she's good with scheduling. And Renan, and, you know, and Nick, they have this calendar on their board, and she'll open up her phone and she's writing down the beginning of the month, all the things that are going on every single day, and this and that and that and this. And I was like, you guys are so much better at parenting than I ever was, because I can't.
I've had to be, especially with this new stuff on the schedule. I'm just, it's a lot.
I had papers lying everywhere. That was before they had, you know, we had,
right.
I would just have the papers laid out all over the table of who's doing this sport, who's doing this. Now I have to go to school, and parent-teacher conferences was like a punishment for me. Like, I don't want to go talk to your teacher. Were you guys bad?
Really?
Do I need to go? Like, no.
I got the sweetest message.
Their teachers were so sweet,
from
but
his
I
teacher
just
the other
didn't
day.
want to go.
You pull it up because it was so cute.
And I mean, from my childhood, I was a bad kid, and my mom hated going to conferences because they always said my sister was the social butterfly. Candace was a bully. Your daughter's a bully. Your daughter's a bully. I'm not.
Never ran and got it.
Shh. I'm not. Anymore.
So she messaged me like just randomly at like 8:30 at night. And she said, hello, I just wanted to share how fantastic he is. He was such a role model in phonics today. He and his partner took charge of setting an example of how to work together and talked so kindly. Oh,
I feel like that's an uplift.
Sweet. Sure is. Should have shared that. All my positivity.
The negativity. You're like, seriously, blah, 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 blah. And I'm on my way. Okay, do not come over here cranky. You're not killing my vibe.
I sang it out on the way here. I was in a good mood. And I knew I was going to come over and podcast and have a drink.
Yes.
That was good. I was more relaxed. It was fine.
And all the laughter and love.
I could have used one today, though, because people were very crabby.
Listen, I listened to Snooki. Snooki? Is it Snooki? Snooki. When she went to all her daughters' cheerleading, blah, blah, blah. And it's all the moms just cracking open their White Claws and their...
Oh my gosh, at events?
Yes.
That's
and how many fit in a single cup that they carry. I'm like,
that is so
dang, why didn't I think?
Oh my gosh.
All of these things I had to sit through. Wow. Then I'm walking around the zoo looking for Dippin' Dots. Can't find a fucking Dippin' Dots anywhere. We stop at the restaurant, you know, like I think it was McDonald's. We stopped at McDonald's on the way home. Rana said, "Do you want anything?" I said, "Yeah, Dippin' Dots." I just wanted a damn Dippin'. I was burning up. She's like, "They have snow cones." Did I say I wanted a snow cone? What part of Dippin' Dot sounded like snow cone to you? She said, funny. Take a walk. What are you breaking?
I knocked my water over.
Oh. Amateur.
But I was telling my mom while we were sitting there this afternoon, because I was being so mean about just everybody.
I love it.
And I couldn't say everything out loud, so I'm texting her too. Like, just talking shit about everybody. And I lean over. I'm like, I gotta go to the mall and like people watch or something, because apparently I have a lot of shit to let out right now. It's just being an asshole.
I was reading my text to Matt, and I'm like, he was like, what's happening? And I'm like, she's just not having the best experience right now.
You know,
it happens. I'm like, we're going to have to go for a drive and tackle some 5-year-olds.
Almost punted someone's kid.
Me too.
Should get them together. They'd be a match made in hell.
Seriously. She was really cute too. That's what really made me mad.
Like, don't be one of the pretty mean girls, okay?
Seriously. Get out of here, Regina.
And then today I said I was going to call him out on the podcast because he was just being an asshole. David.
Oh,
God.
Get into that. I was not there today. Maybe, maybe he's got something going on that he just needed to take some frustration out, and he knows that, you're not going to hold it.
It was a safe space. Yeah. He's just being crabby.
I would have laughed at him.
Then he'd giggle and he'd walk away, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
He's got some serious shit going on right now. Like, I've never seen this dark side of you.
Jeez.
Strange.
But he said he started listening to last week's episode this morning, so it's like,
yay for catching up. Yay for catching up.
But he was just being crabby, and we kept going back and forth. I'm like, you know what? Because he said something to me. He was going to do something. I'm like, well, I'm going to go tonight, record with Candace, and I'm going to talk shit about you to everybody.
Yeah.
He's
like, lot of the
you
shit.
Go ahead and
it's
do
happening.
That.
Here comes the shit.
It was a fun day. It was actually a good day. It was fine. We had a good time.
Can't say that when I'm not there.
Doug just keeps yelling about his shoes. I have to tell everybody about when I wore the wrong shoes. I'm like, that was Candace, and it's funny. Don't make her pull out the receipts.
You know what? Yeah. I will post pictures. Play with me.
It was funny.
The funnest thing now is that 2 people have called him out for asking him, are you her dad? Is that your dad? Daddy. Like, I've got the daddy issues, so I might as well. Come here, Big Papa. It's going to be his new name. He's not Big Sexy anymore. Now he's Big Papa.
He gave himself that nickname, by the way.
Literally self-proclaimed Big Sexy.
We're in so much trouble.
Because he didn't like the nickname that Nick gave him, which was Duzzles.
Yeah, he told everyone that his nickname was Big Sexy, and that's what the babes call him.
All of the babes.
And then we have to tell everyone, no, he gave himself that nickname.
We don't. But he'll come out and ask, what's my name?
He called you one time, so you would prove it to his friends.
Yes, and I did, because, I'm a good friend.
You are. You had his back.
And then called him, now he's my dad. My dad, come here. You see, more daddy issues.
Well, will you stand in for the ones we don't have?
If my father, if I have to call my dad Big Sexy, there's issues. There's issues.
Ew. Oh no.
So do you okay.
Anyway.
Do you want to get into it then? Like,
yeah, you know what? Mine is I'm sweating right now.
Told you I could get you a fan.
No, okay.
I can call Jeeves. Okay.
I'll tell you
That's
later.
fine.
I can't say it on the podcast.
That's fine. You can't say stuff like that on the podcast because then people are going to go, what can't you tell?
Well,
that's fine.
It might upset some people. I'll tell you privately.
Well, we're not here to piss people off. We're here to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Except for
Unless
Doug,
pissed,
because we pissed Doug off. And Dave, when he finds out podcasts aren't about him.
Well, the one dedicated to him is his favorite so
totally.
far. So.
It's all him.
Okay. So we're in Michigan today. Very excited for this. I got a whole book about this topic and I got super into it. My notes were so long.
Did you highlight your book?
No, I didn't actually. No. So we're talking about the Jackson State Prison.
Ah, yeah. The big secret. She's not telling me, but she wants to tell somebody else. David.
I did tell Dave. So here's what we're planning.
Oh, no. We don't need to plan things.
We're planning. Because, okay, so here's the thing. We were talking about the podcast, and he's like, Kristen, I think, would love it. She wants to come on. I said, absolutely. Let's go.
You know what's funny? I had family that was there. In Jackson.
It took me a minute, and then I'm like, in prison?
In prison. You're accurate.
I'm like, at work?
Candace.
Never mind. I know.
You had family in prison? I do. I did.
No, see, I knew that. And that's when I started putting, I was like, oh, okay.
A live family.
I love that.
I don't. I mean, it's fine. I love that for them. That's where they needed to be.
It's
but
great for my story.
I mean,
they might have experienced some hauntings.
I certainly hope they did. So
you're going to find out some things today that might make you happy.
God. Oh, okay.
So anyway,
I like happiness.
I was talking to Dave about it, and then he mentioned Kristen, and I was like, because he's like, she loves this stuff. I'm like, yeah, she should absolutely come on the podcast. And then I was like, P.S., don't tell Candace because she can't find out till tomorrow night. I told him yesterday. It's like, I'm doing Jackson State Prison. And he's like, oh, that sounds so cool. I'm like, you can get like groups of up to 15 and do the tours.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, that would be so fun if we plan something in advance.
Wait, is it not active anymore?
It is not.
Oh.
There is one. This is the old building, which I'll get into in the history.
Okay, so then, okay.
The original one, you'll find out all about what's happening with it now.
I have to get with my sister on the years
of
I'd
be curious
lockup.
to know.
Yeah, like I'll have to get with my sister on the years of lockup.
It was probably not. No. It would not have been this original one, I don't think.
Okay. I didn't know their way. I honestly didn't know that. You know, I don't really frequent prisons much. I try to avoid those.
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I was telling him, like, we should get a whole group together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you and Kristen find a date, and then we'll find a date, and we'll make it work and get people together.
Like a date a person?
We could. And we'll all go and do a tour together.
That'd be fun.
I thought that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So this is AKA Jacktown. That's what they call it. Too.
Oh, I mean, the people from there. They have slang.
They have a lot going on.
Oh, God.
It's going to get dicey.
Kind of terrified right
now. So Jackson State Prison, which is here in Jackson, Michigan, opened in 1839.
Wow.
Only 2 years after Michigan became the 26th state in the Union. And this made it Michigan's first state prison. And at the time, it was the largest prison in the world.
No kidding.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
I mean, apparently they didn't have as many bad people then.
You'd be surprised.
I mean.
And I love to say this so much, so I'm going to say it again. Fun fact.
Oh, God.
Just a little side note, because I was curious, so I looked it up. Michigan has 30 state correctional facilities and 2 federal prisons, and those are in Milan and Baldwin.
Boom.
I'm almost done with my drink. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We're just starting.
Really suck that down.
I know.
Super thirsty being out in the sun for 800 hours today.
It was the Scottish in me. The hour and a half was basically 17. Between 1830 and 1840, the population of Michigan rose from 31,000 to 212,000. And that was as communities flocked to Michigan in an effort to pursue farming and industrial jobs.
It's not that fun of a place to live, people.
I like it.
I'm a hostage.
I don't mind being from here.
That's fine.
So the Industrial Revolution had just started. And with the economy booming, the railroads and factories became really important in Jackson. And what is a super cheap and effective way to staff factories and farms? Use free labor from prisoners.
Perfect.
So that's what their
I
plan
really
was.
think they should be working anyway.
You're goddamn right. Mm-hmm. I agree. And so this explains why, and we'll learn more about it as we go, the prison was incredibly important to the community and the economy. Now, back in 1839, like I said, Jacktown, as it was called, was only a wooden fort, and it was located on the north side of downtown. It housed only 35 inmates, but by 1840, it housed 85 inmates. So that was within a year.
Bad things are happening.
With a very small community.
Yeah.
And at that time, on June 1st, 1840, a police wagon, because, you know, before cars and all that, a police wagon pulled by horses entered the fort, and 12 inmates attempted to escape.
No.
So there have been a lot of escapes from both this old prison and the new prison. Some just ran through the gate, but others dug holes under the fence and others climbed over the fence past sleeping and possibly drunk guards.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Only 2 of those escapees were caught initially. The other 10, who were all in prison for either burglary or larceny, though records showed that 22-year-old George Norton, who organized the escape, had also committed murder but was never convicted. It didn't take long before the group became known as the Jackson Robber Gang. They robbed banks, stagecoaches, and homes, and they stole cattle and horses. They'd also hide behind bushes and jump out at women pushing baby carriages.
Bastards.
They just fucking thought it was fun. Or they would hide and mimic the sound of rattlesnakes. So at this point, they were terrorizing the entire community.
You know,
to the point where mothers wouldn't even take their babies on walks anymore out of fear that these prisoners would get to them.
That's terrible.
Yeah. They were extremely disrupted, and this went on for over 2 years.
They're just being dicks at this point.
Yeah. They fled to Spring Arbor, where they ran into a farmer named James Vedetto. They'd been stealing his horses and cattle as well as his neighbors, and he'd had it at this point. He was fed up, and he knew they were going to come back because they'd been back multiple times. So he decided to wait, and he waited night after night on the porch of his farmhouse with a pistol in each hand. Unfortunately, for the way things turned out for him, he was correct and they came back. Since it was only 1 against 10, because they were still traveling as a whole group, they jumped him immediately and beat him, leaving him for dead. But the commotion did alert neighbors who ran to help, and George Norton, the de facto leader, was shot instantly and killed, and another was shot in the leg, and then 2, unfortunately, ran off into the woods, never to be seen or heard from again. So 2 of them did ultimately escape, but the remaining 7 were rounded up and taken back to Jackson. And the Vedetto farmhouse is actually still there today, and the farm is still running. So I went to their, they have a website. I went to their website, and you can actually purchase like cuts of meat from their livestock and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like tainted with spirits now. Like, I'm getting...
Well, it is fully functional. Support local.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Vedetto Farms. I don't know if it's the same family necessarily. I didn't look into that.
Bloodline might have.
But somebody is running it.
And still running it on the same name. So
yeah,
either
whether
way,
it's descendants or not, it is still theirs.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
The Jackson Robber Gang doing all of this gave the state the kick in the ass that it needed to upgrade from old wooden walls to something a bit more secure with solid brick, mortar, and iron.
Okay.
And according to Judy Gale Krasnow, I think that's how you say it, who wrote the book that I have, it's called Jacktown: History and Hard Times at Michigan's First State Prison. One of the main motivations for the prison, according to this book, was to make a profit and obviously help their economy like we talked about.
Well, good.
The prisoners did get paid, and it was just under 34 cents per day for their work, and the average wage in that day was roughly $1.50 per day. But 28 of the 34 cents went back to pay the state.
Okay.
So
that's not so bad.
The prisoners were working for a little more than 5 cents per day. And the leadership at the...
I mean, where are they spending it? Like, calm down.
On what? Like cigarettes from the commissary or whatever it is?
Yeah. So calm down. You're fine.
The leadership as the prison saw this as part of their punishment and considered it a way to rehabilitate them. Because they were supposed to be very big on rehabilitation. But we'll see how that changes over time. So their next big job, the actual prisoners, was to build the prison from wooden walls to the new one. They didn't hire construction crews. They didn't do any of that. Inmates were building it.
Okay.
The upgraded prison had 4 stories with 300 cells that were 5.5 by 4.5 feet. So they were tiny.
Oh, yeah.
There was no heat, no electricity, no plumbing.
We're not looking for luxury housing here. You fucked up.
Right. And the living conditions were rough. The men had to use a honey bucket in their cell, which for anyone that doesn't know is basically your toilet. It's in a bucket.
Oh.
It was only emptied once every 24 hours.
Okay, that's kind of gross.
And if you had bad behavior, well, that might not happen.
Where?
And so thanks to that and a lack of ventilation, the stench was unbearable.
Could imagine. That's worse than a farmhouse.
Yeah. And also something to keep in mind is that modern day toilet paper wasn't readily available until 1857. We're still in the 1840s.
Oh boy.
So instead, the inmates were given rags, and the prisoners were not allowed to wear underwear, and the uniforms they wore were only washed twice per month, along with the rags that they used as toilet paper.
So we're just going to assume that they did not have good odor.
No. They also bathed only twice a month. And at first, they wore black and white striped uniforms, but those were too expensive. So men wore clothing and shoes donated by the community, which I don't love, because if you do happen to escape,
now
you're out there in like slacks and a shirt. Like
you look normal. When we came home from being down south, we came up 23 and we passed the prison that's right there, and literal signs on the side of the road that say,
like the hitchhikers.
"Do not pick up hitchhikers.
Yep.
You can be fined because what did it say? Do not pick up hitchhikers. It could be an escaped prisoner or something like that." I was like, okay, why is that? First of all, why do people need to be told not to pick up hitchhikers? Like, I get back in the 70s when people were traveling.
I was going to say it's not 1974.
It's something different, and I get it. But I'm not at all stopping my vehicle. First of all, I'm not stopping my vehicle on a freeway unless, like I have an emergency in it, and it has to be. I get it. Emergencies happen.
Right.
But I see somebody walking. I'm not going to go, I should be nice because they look like they could use a ride. Like, I wonder if they just need to go to the gas station. No cars did I pass.
Being nice gets you killed.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that sounds bad to say because sometimes people really need help.
But it's the reality.
But especially if you've like got kids with you and nope, sorry.
In Boston, they got this whole freaking killer on the loose, taking out women again. Yeah, I just heard about it I want to say it was Boston. It could be wrong. I literally just heard it on the news yesterday morning.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, talking about some dude out there. Could be a dude, could be a female. I'm not because they don't know who it is, but somebody's out there attacking women and killing them.
Like
no, just people walking from your job to your car.
Oh my gosh.
It's literally, there's a serial killer on the loose right now.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary.
And I want to say it was in Massachusetts area, but for some reason I don't feel confident on that. But I just heard about it. I was like, really? And they don't want to make too much of a publicity about it because they don't want him to go into hiding and become one of those,
that lasts for 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean, which makes sense.
And I'm John Wayne Gacy or somebody. They called out somebody, an old serial killer that went into hiding, so they don't want him to be a copycat of this particular person. And I don't know my history on serial killers, but
I think he did.
But the person went into hiding, became a normal
no
civilian again.
Hold on. People are screaming it right now. BTK.
Yep. You're
BTK.
absolutely right. Yep.
I think
they don't want it to be a copycat.
Been like 15, 20 years. I think he went through
and when it was a whole normal human being again.
Yeah. He was a husband. He was a dad, normal job.
So they're just they're trying to be, they want to be proactive about it, but also be hush hush because they don't want this person to go,
right. Yeah. So settle down for a bit.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what is going on with you people? First of all, and still not picking up a hitchhiker at all, especially near a prison, but anywhere.
And it's like looking at the older serial killers where it's like Bundy and Gacy and all those, where it was it feels so far removed from our time. It's like, yeah, that was such a different time. People did that kind of stuff. But then hearing newer stories of like, what was the one? Israel Keys, who was in the 2000s. There was another one, I can't remember his name, in the 2000s that were serial killers. And I'm like, no, that's not right. That had to be like the 60s. And it's like, nope.
Sorry for the rabbit hole. We can continue this on our after hours.
Yeah,
talk,
that's okay.
Because I want to hear more about your story. So
I love serial killer talk.
I know you do.
Okay.
So we can pick this up on our after hours. So you guys are gonna have to subscribe if you need to know more.
You're like, you guys are losing it.
But I really want to hear more.
So back to the treatment. Prisoners were also forced to live by the code of silence, meaning that they weren't allowed to talk to one another. Ever.
At all?
No exceptions. But they eventually learned to whistle as a means of communication. But when the guards caught on, whistling too was outlawed.
I heard things like this, or tapping, or something almost like a Morse code type thing.
I think it's somewhere in my notes. I know I wrote it, but after that was outlawed, they moved to sign language.
Okay.
Which they learned from a magazine they were passing around. Eventually, guards caught on when they're flinging signs at each other. And they're like, these motherfuckers learn sign language. They're still communicating. Yeah, so they were trying everything they could. And the only windows were at the very front of each wing. So when guards entered, because of the smell, obviously, it wasn't unusual for them to gag or throw up.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the hygiene problems, disease was rampant.
Of course.
Dysentery, cholera, syphilis, tuberculosis. That one took out hundreds of people. And everyone, including guards, lived in fear of a measles outbreak because it's said to be the one that would wipe everybody out. And at this time, overcrowding was a massive problem, which we still hear about in prisons. So another annex was built, but in no time it was full, and the prisoners continued to flood in. So by 1882, it housed nearly 2,000 prisoners. We went from 35 to 2,000 in a few decades. And this is where I mention it, that prisoners, again, were not allowed to talk. So they moved on to sign language. And then once the guards caught on, outlawed.
Yeah.
So during this time, there was one inmate in particular who I thought was worth mentioning just because I found her story very interesting. And especially a woman back in that day.
Well, yeah. I mean, not that they didn't do crimes, but...
Yeah, of course. But to be in a prison, especially a mixed men and women in the same prison, wild.
Yeah, very strange for co-ed.
Yeah. So up until, but like obviously back then though, there weren't as many women. So like, what do we do? Build them a house? Make them stay in it?
And there's no facilities, so
right.
Can't very well let them go free.
Mm-hmm. So up until 1882, female prisoners were at the prison with the men, and one of these women was named Sarah, I believe it's Haviland. Sarah poisoned her own children because she couldn't afford to feed them. Yet inside the prison, she became the much beloved caregiver to the warden's children and took care of them. So back in that day, it was very normal for the warden, his wife, his children to all live either in a portion of the prison or on the grounds in a house.
So this crazy fool knew what she did to her kids and says, okay, here, take care of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
And it reminded me of something, which is why I mentioned it, because I just thought it was an interesting connection. Have you heard of Catherine Knight? She was known as Australia's worst killer.
Why does her name sound familiar to me?
She's the psycho who was like going after her boyfriends, and the one she ended up flaying his skin off his body in one piece.
Yep.
Cooking him and feeding him to like the neighbors and shit.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay, her. It reminded me of that because she did horrific shit to her own kids. She was a very abusive mother. And a lot of mental illness. She was a very terrible mother to her kids. But when she was eventually caught and put in prison, I believe still till this day, unless she's passed, which I don't think she has, she was known as the Nana of the prison.
Oh, God.
She's spending her life there, so she's old. But they call her Nana.
Nana.
She's like the sweet Nana on her best behavior.
And
that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, how you can flip it from being a psycho to so well behaved. I'm so kind. What are you talking about?
Sorry I killed my kids, but that's only because I couldn't feed them.
It's fine. I'll take care of yours.
It's fine.
We'll be
promise.
So great.
I will not poison them. It's
wild.
No.
I just thought it was a weird connection. How
absolutely not.
And two women specifically that looked on that charm and were motherly and maternal and
no, I want resumes. I want references. Like, I need to know who's taking care of my children.
I need to have known you for the last 20 years minimum. Like,
no.
Mm-mm. Crazy. And I wanted to mention really quickly that the prison was a full-blown business by this time.
Of course.
It was producing binder twine, monuments, tombstones, fabric, machine parts, and furniture. It also had a tailor shop.
It's free labor. Why not?
It had a tailor shop which local brides would purchase their wedding dresses from, a sausage factory.
Dirty.
That's dirty. And a world-famous canning facility, as well as the Jackson Wagon Factory. It had 3 miles of farmland, which included a vineyard where the prison produced its own wine. So,
yummy. It's
not hurting with those prisoners coming in, too. They got a lot of workers.
You know they're tasting off the top, too. Come on now.
Sure. So, unfortunately, Jackson Prison is known for its horrific treatment of inmates. And in this time period in particular, they were especially cruel. Because keep in mind at this time, because I think when you think like prisoners, you're like, oh, horrible murderers. Yeah, let anything happen to them. Some of these people, it was like small, like larceny charges.
Oh,
like,
yeah. They didn't really, because they didn't have just regular jails, you know. Like,
they didn't have different levels of things.
Everybody goes to prison.
You're all going here.
Yeah.
You made a little mistake. Sorry, you might be in bed next to the murderer.
Sorry,
it's happen.
You stole food from this person's table, but now you're in prison.
Right. So, when inmates arrived, they were immediately put into solitary confinement for 2 weeks to break their spirit.
Oh, God.
And then there were bugs, no honey bucket. They would use a trench. And when they first came in, each new inmate would wear the same outfit as the last one.
Ew.
And they were fucking disgusting, which we'll get into more.
Ew.
Like, they'd go to the bathroom in them because they didn't have a choice. They were throwing up on them, and then it would just be passed on to the next. So it wasn't unusual for prisoners to just commit suicide by bashing their heads on the brick walls rather than put up with the torture because it gets bad. In 1846, Michigan was the first state ever to abolish capital punishment, aka the death penalty.
Thank you.
And unfortunately for those prisoners on death row, it didn't really work out for them because that would have just been better.
Still death row.
Still on death row and horrible treatment.
Yeah.
So I think they would have just probably preferred death.
Just put me away. Yeah, just take me out of my misery because it's torture. Yeah.
So in my opinion, they received an even worse sentence, and that meant life in solitary confinement. 20 prisoners received that sentence, and 15 years later, state inspectors came and found that all 20 of them had gone blind from not having seen light for at least 15 years. So that reminded me of the West Memphis 3.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Very interesting case. Yeah. I personally, after hearing everything I've heard, I believe they're innocent. And they received horrible treatment.
My gosh.
There were 3 guys, and Damien Eccles, he received the worst of it, and he was eventually able to get out of prison after a lot of public pushing, including from like celebrities and stuff. And he, till this day, even inside, has to wear sunglasses because part of his torture was solitary confinement. and it fucked his eyes up permanently. So
No
he's so
kidding.
sensitive to light, even like light in a room, his eyes can't handle it. So he has to wear sunglasses all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a wild case. So they had all gone blind.
Mm-hmm.
Their hair was long and matted with lice. They were covered with cockroaches. Their nails had grown into what they described as winding claws. And they were suffering from malnutrition, obviously. Because I don't think I put it in here, but if I remember correctly, I think they were fed like twice a week, like bread and potatoes or something.
Yeah.
So nothing nutritious. 9 of them could no longer speak, only grunt, and they were committed to asylums. 6 of the inmates died when exposed to sunlight while being carried to the infirmary, and the remaining 5 were completely crippled and blind. So the inspectors that came in went to the state, obviously, to report this, and they tried to just bring back corporal punishment, claiming it was more humane to hang them quickly than put them through decades of torture.
Right.
But the state refused and decided on life in prison without solitary.
Okay, that makes it better.
Just my personal opinion. I agree with corporal punishment. I believe if you did something horrific, if you did something to a child, if you brutally murdered somebody, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Why am I paying for you to live? And sometimes, obviously this was a special case, sometimes a relatively cushy life, get the fuck out. But at this point, like they said, it was more humane. Do a quick hanging and be done with it.
I mean, to put them through that.
Torture?
And who knows what severity of their crime even was. Like, and to put them through that.
Well, this one specifically, out of like a couple thousand, this was only 20. So I don't know for sure, but my assumption would be these were probably murderers and pretty bad crimes.
The bad ones.
Yeah. And according to Steve Rudolph, who's a tour guide at the prison still till this day, maybe we'll get to meet Steve. How fun. His quote is, "It took people from having a 3-second hanging and turned into a 6 or 7 or 8 month death sentence. You'd go crazy. You're basically subhuman and then you'd die." Inmates would also be forced to wear the iron cap, which, if you want to check out our book here on the back, that's what it looks like, and we'll post a picture. So
that's
it's basically
mutilation.
Yeah, it's basically a bird cage made of iron, heavy iron. It's very heavy. And they'd be required to wear it over their heads for at least 14 days. They'd have to eat through it, sleep with it, and work. So manual labor while wearing the cap. Yeah. So now things are going to get much, 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 much worse. So we're going to talk about a man named John Morris. And he was the warden of the prison from 1870 to 1875. Now, wardens were they were selected by the governor of the state to put in this position. And in this case, when Michigan's governor, Henry Porter Baldwin, was the governor from 1869 to 1873, he appointed Morris, and he got a lot of criticism for it because people didn't think he would be a strict enough disciplinarian to be warden of a prison. Little did they know, they did not know the true John Morris.
God.
On the outside, John was known for being a kind, helpful, gentle, soft-spoken man in his community. He was very beloved. But inside the walls of the prison, he was a monster. He brought some really unique punishments to the prison, and he'd inflict them on inmates that he just didn't like. He didn't like the looks of them, or they just annoyed him, so he tortured the ever-living shit out of them. One of his favorites was called riding the mare. And this is where the inmate would be placed. I'll post a picture of this on Instagram too, so you guys can see what it looks like. The inmate would be placed on a device meant to resemble a horse, and the seat was triangular, and a sharp splintered wood made up the top of the seat. And the horse stood about 8 feet high on 4 wooden legs. the prisoner would get hoisted onto the horse with their hands cuffed behind their back, and weights would be chained to their ankles.
Oh, God.
So regardless of weather, because this was outside, the inmates would be required to stay in this position on the horse for 8 full hours. And
just pulling you down, like,
yeah.
Oh.
And if 2 inmates got into trouble, like for fighting or something, they would both be placed on the horse in the same position, but would have their heads strapped together forehead to forehead for 8 hours.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like the dynamics that these people went through to torture these people.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a sentence is that?
Right. Morris also loved to chain inmates to the iron gate outside, again, regardless of weather, and either he or a guard would hook up a hose to the fire hydrant, and he would choose different nozzles depending on how much pain he wanted to inflict, and they would spray the inmate with ice cold water at full blast from anywhere between 10 to 50 minutes. 50.
No.
He would not stop until the pleas for mercy sounded genuine enough to him.
Oh, wow.
And this would put inmates in the infirmary typically for 2 to 5 days because of injuries.
And it's sad because this was probably the only time that these people had exposure to water to clean themselves. And now they're, it's just used for pain and torture.
And in a Michigan winter?
Oh, no.
Can you imagine?
Ice cold?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So here comes his favorite torture.
No. Oh.
This one included a big old cross constructed by Morris himself. And this cross, it's exactly what you're thinking, the cross that many people were hung from, including Jesus himself.
Crucifixions.
In the solitary dungeon, inmates would be strapped to the cross with wet leather straps. And as the leather dried, it would shrink and tighten around the wrists and ankles, cutting off circulation, and they would be left to hang there for days without food or water.
So now they're losing limbs.
Oh, there's a limb lost.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yeah. So if inmates tried to write, and I think that comes later, if inmates tried to write letters to tell people of the treatment they were getting at the prison, obviously everything was being read, when it's intercepted, and the inmate would receive punishment, and any doctors or guards who refused to participate would be fired immediately. And my first thought is, do it anyway. But then I also thought, it's also the 1800s in a small town, and you have kids to feed, and a spouse to support, and a home to keep, and it's like, I also kind of get that too, where it's like, I got to figure something else out first. Like,
half dozen in one hand, 6 in the other. Like, what do you do?
Do I let my kids go without a home and food? Like, what? Eventually things do get better, fortunately. But during that time, in this book, Judy Krasnow called it a reign of silent terror, which it truly was. Unfortunately, it did come to an end, but only with loss of life.
Oh.
Morris once had a prisoner named Drayton Thurston, who was whipped 63 times. Oh. Another man died when submerged in icy water for too long. Another, named William McDonald, suffered an injury to one of his arms during the Civil War. That's how long ago this was. And he did end up on the cross. By the time the bands had dried and he was untied, his arm was so severely injured it had to be amputated.
Oh my God. And I'm sure they did that so humanely.
Well, I think the worst part of it was that it wasn't immediate. It wasn't until over 2 years later he suffered horrendous injuries. The arm was apparently green and blue for 2 years. And it was so infected. The smell was rancid. So like the people in the cells around him were complaining constantly because the smell was horrific.
Yeah, so they only did it for, their benefit, not for this person.
And obviously the pain was horrendous. So he did eventually get the arm removed, but 2 years is fucking insane.
Disgusting.
But this was the final straw. Eventually, a group of off-duty guards went to a news reporter in Adrian, and they shared what was going on behind the prison walls. And wanting to find out for himself, the reporter went to Morris, told him how wonderful he heard the prison was, and how good the medical care is, and how productive the factories are, and really talked it up because he wanted to write an article all about it. But meanwhile, he talked to everybody inside to get the truth. Inmates, factory workers, guards, medical staff, everybody spilled their guts to the daily press. So now I'm going to read some of the transcripts from what would eventually be at the trial of John Morris. So yes, he was put on trial for this. And the assistant warden, 33 inmates, firefighters, doctors, and seemingly anyone else involved in prison life testified at the trial. Okay, so George Cook, who was a hall keeper, provided this information. Question: who inflicted the punishment? Answer: Mr. Morris, the agent. That's the other thing. At the time, he was technically not a warden. That came a little later. That title, he was an agent.
Oh.
But I call him a warden, because that just he sure does. Makes more sense. Question: describe the whip. Answer: well, it was a common horsewhip. The end of the lash was part buckskin or calfskin braided on the lash. Question: how was the convict? Answer: his hands were tied together and he was tied up, drawn up to a railing to the first gallery. Question: was he stripped? Answer: yes. Most of the flogging was about his breast and shoulders, perhaps some down as low as his body. He was tied up, so there was nothing to prevent his being whipped round his person. Question: do you know how many lashes he received in the first whipping? Answer: 74. Question:
this literally hurts my soul hearing this.
Yeah. Question: who inflicted the second whipping? Answer: the agent, Mr. Morris. Instead of being tied up so the whip would go clear around him, he was tied up to the side of the post. Question: do you know how many blows he received? Answer: I counted over 90.
Oh my God.
There was considerable talk among keepers. Some thought he struck him over 100. Question: what effect had these lashes upon his person? Answer: well, they cut him pretty bad in places. And then Deputy Keeper George Winans, now sworn in court, described the hosing that happened. He said, the convict would be stripped entirely naked. The nozzle would be held 6 to 12 feet from the prisoner. Could you imagine 6 feet away?
Oh my gosh. No, that's no.
Their hands were tied to their back with a half-inch rope. They were fastened to a door. They were showered on all parts of their body. I have seen men whipped and tied up by their hands in a bare cell. Another witness described, quote, I have seen them showered with the hose until they were black. Mr. Morris favored upper-class prisoners. He allowed them to have tobacco. I think the making of tobacco in the prison causes most problems. He let 74 prisoners have it along with starched shirts and collars and an extra suit of clothes and pants. There were no rules for good behavior other than the rules of the agent. So your behavior didn't have shit to do with it. If he didn't like you, well then fuck you.
It's personal.
Yep.
It's personal.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
And then James L. Perkins, a 50-year-old lawyer from Jackson who had served time for forgery, testified to the following. In the north hall of the West Wing, I saw Mr. Morris and 2 or 3 others going in at the lower door. They were taking a prisoner with them. It was but a few minutes after that I heard him scream and heard the instrument, whatever it was, a lash or strap, some said it was, being applied to him, and I heard his screams. Some others were cleaning up where the excrement ran from him during the whipping. I have seen Mr. Morris when men were screaming during hosing, telling them to shut up and direct it right into their mouth and hold it there until they would be almost completely drowned down so that they could not make a noise, and then direct it to some other part. Keep in mind, remember, he was hosing them down until they had a sincere enough apology and were begging.
And basically just blowing the skin off of these people.
So it wasn't to get anything out of them. It was just to torture.
Injuries. Oh my God.
So, unbelievably, Morris received no prison time for what he did.
Oh, of course not.
He didn't have to pay a single fine either. He was just fired and told to leave Jackson. All we know is that he moved to Texas and nothing is confirmed after that.
Oh, God.
However, it's suggested that he may have continued his torture in Texas prisons, which I can only imagine would be worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at the type of guy John Morris was in the community and then what he did at the prison, it's funny that we mentioned BTK because this is exactly what he reminds me of. It's almost like a serial killer who goes out, they do their killing, and then they like go home to their wife and their kids, and, like coach soccer and go to parent-teacher conferences. It's like they get all the sick shit out and then live a normal life. But John Morris, he was doing the same thing, just on the other side of the law, which is creepy. But fortunately for the inmates, things did get better temporarily after he was gone. There was a night keeper by the name of John H. Purves, which is a fun name. He was hired as a prison guard in Jackson in 1872, and he was also a Civil War hero. And he would eventually become the first major proponent of prison reform in Michigan. He ended up publishing a journal that tells the story of life in Jackson prison. And he had all of these stories because in 1882, he became captain of the night guards, known as the night keeper, and he had to write reports of each night and present them to the warden each morning. The reports that formed these journals would eventually be read by prisons around the country and for decades after, because they shed light on balance between appropriate punishments in prison while also maintaining humanity. In his journal, Purves also told stories of chaplain Albert M. Ewert, and Albert was hired as a chaplain in the early 1930s, and this is when the prison really started to see more change. Now, Albert Ewert, who was the last chaplain at the old prison, which is the one we're talking about, he was also a huge advocate for prison reform, and it showed. Ewert asked inmates to write about specific topics, like what they could do to better their lives while in prison, what they felt about the crimes they committed, and what it would take for them to be productive citizens again. And thanks to Albert's granddaughter, Catherine Ewert Benson, these papers were donated to the Lansing Historical Society, so you can still see them today. Albert also worked with inmates using religion as well as art. And the inmates would broadcast a Sunday morning radio program, and they had a prison jazz and barbershop quartet, and it became so popular that they were hired on weekends to perform at weddings and parties and in restaurants and nightclubs around Jackson. He also taught prisoners painting, poetry, and other kinds of writing in what he called the Progressive Club. And he caused a lot of controversy around Thanksgiving one year because he decided to invite 24 inmates dressed in suits and ties to his home for Thanksgiving dinner, where his wife was the cook and hostess. The inmates were convicted of all levels of crimes, but he wanted to do an experiment and see how they'd behave when treated like regular people. So apparently his home was the place to test it out.
Oh, well, why not?
With his wife. Fortunately, everything went great. They had a wonderful time, and they all went right back to prison afterwards.
I mean, what better place to test it than in somebody's freaking home?
They all did great. They had a good time. So Albert's granddaughter, Catherine, who we talked about, was not the only member of his family that seemed to get involved in one way or another. Albert's wife would regularly bake cookies for him to pass out to inmates, and his son...
Sorry, I don't mean to giggle, but baking cookies is also a reference
Uh-oh.
on the radio station.
Maybe. You're absolutely right. So his wife was not sleeping with the inmates, but she was
baking cookies
for them. And his son was a driver for the prisoners who played in the various weekend bands. So they were all helping out somehow. And back then, inmates also worked outside on the farms, did domestic work in the terrace houses lining the outside of the prison walls, and they played baseball against the town team, with spectators sitting on blankets and having picnics on the prison grounds.
This is how we treat this is better treatment for the prisoners. Okay.
It was a very different world. Like I mentioned earlier, local women would buy their wedding dresses from the prison tailor shop, and the hobby craft sales shop was filled with finely crafted leather and woodworking items made by the prisoners.
Like, it's a whole fucking town.
Literally. That Jacktown. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
it's
they call it.
all coming together.
Yep. Some of their handiwork can still be seen at the Cell Block 7 Prison Museum today, which is where we'll go. We're going to go. Sure. We're going to go. On September 1st, 1912, a riot that's described by many as the worst riot in the prison's history began over prisoners who were forced to follow a code of silence and not talk in the prison, like I mentioned earlier. The first sign of trouble was when inmates started throwing plates against the walls in the dining halls. And many fights followed after this, and the riot lasted for 6 days. Townsfolk brought baskets of food, chairs, and tents and camped out around the prison wall to hear what was happening inside. The days when you did not have television.
I mean, it's entertainment.
It sure was. On the 6th day, the 90 or so inmates who were leading the riot were beaten, and the riot eventually came to an end, but not until after the governor had to call in the National Guard. And then I cover from here just like a few last minute things that happened there. In 1924, the pea soup riot took place because the inmates couldn't tolerate the inedible peas and beans served for lunch and dinner.
I love pea soup. Not
Isn't
gonna
it
lie.
yum?
So good.
You know what soup I always crave? Ham and bean. My mom makes the best ham and bean soup.
I grew up eating like a 15 bean soup with ham.
Oh.
Like, I saved the freaking my ham bones.
Yeah.
And the only time I ever get them is at Easter. So like literally I'm like, when can I make
so
soup?
Good. So good.
Anybody else got bones for me?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. If we do a ham for anything, my mom's like, I'll save the rest and make soup. Like, yes. Bag that shit up. I'm taking it home. So good. It's the best. So by the late 1920s, overcrowding still an issue.
It's always going to be.
It's just awful. But by 1935, the last of the inmates were transferred into the new prison.
Oh.
So that's where I believe family would have been. It started in 1935.
People that shared my maiden name.
And a quick funny story about a man named Harry Jackson, who was the last warden at the old prison and the first one at the new facility. Before the inmates were transferred into the new prison, he took a group of inmates to a brothel on Pearl Street in celebration of their new home.
God bless him. I want to go.
He said, let's go, fellas. Let's
it's my treat.
Let's get you some before you go home. Yeah.
Work off those calluses another time. Ew.
So, when I originally did my notes, I'm not joking, they were twice as long because I was so fascinated and reading this book. Like, there was more in it about the new prison and more riots and the escaping. There was this one guy, I ended up deleting it all from my notes because I'm like, that's unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I did the research for myself because it was so fun. There was one guy told this story, I think it was in the 70s, who busted out of there because he had a friend who managed to like kidnap a helicopter pilot, make him take the helicopter to the prison grounds, land, bust his friend out of prison into the helicopter, and they escaped in a helicopter. It was like a movie. It was so cool.
Free for all.
That was a new prison, so I didn't include all of it, but it was fun. So, since inmates were now transferred and the prison was just sitting there empty, it was used as an armory in World War II, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and the Iraq War.
Really?
Before officially closing again in 1996.
Even with all that stench happening, because they're not getting the smell out of them walls, and now they're going to put people that are serving our country in there?
Well, it was the armory, so I don't think people were like sleeping. Okay. It was probably more so like guards guarding it.
Gotcha.
But where they were keeping the goods.
The stuff.
So eventually, after 150 years, the prison was divided. And starting in 1988, so I guess we still don't know which building it was, because starting in 1988, there were 4 distinct prisons, which are all still in Jackson. It's the Parnall, I believe, the Parnall Correctional Facility, which is a minimum security, the G. Robert Cotton Correctional Facility, where prisoners can finish their general education, the Charles Egler Reception and Guidance Center, which is the common point of processing for all male state prisoners sentenced to any Michigan prison, and the Cooper Street Correctional Facility, which is the common point for processing all of the male state prisoners about to discharge, parole, or enter a community center or a camp program. So there's a lot going on there. And with these 4 other structures up and running, the Southern Michigan Correctional Facility, which housed the main 6 structure of the original Jackson prison, closed officially with armory and everything. It closed down November 17th, 2007. And then I did also want to add in, like I said, I didn't add in all the crazy wild stuff happening in the new prisons, but unfortunately the new prisons are still dealing with a lot of the issues the old ones dealt with overcrowding,
of course,
issues with guards. Like, there's still a lot of terrible things happening. It's so recent that the buildings that make up the current prison were actually in the news less than 2 years ago, in 2023, for its inhumane conditions for both inmates and staff.
I think they get their shit together by this point.
You would think. Unfortunately, I don't know whose fault it necessarily is, though, because of this. Captain Anthony Stewart shares, quote, "I've been in the business for over 35 years, and this facility is by far in the worst conditions of any facility I've ever been involved with." And Jackson County law enforcement says they're in desperate need of updates at the Jackson County Jail. Sheriff Gary Schuett says the issues inside are only getting worse. But so far, attempts to fund those repairs have been unsuccessful. During a walkthrough with Sheriff Schuett and Captain Stewart, they pointed out several extreme safety concerns within the jail. Some of those major issues included plumbing and sewage leaks. Others included blind spots and inability to see if inmates or staff are in danger in certain corners and hallways. And another concern is the antiquated facility, leaving some officers having to fumble through dozens of keys to get into the cells that they need to. There have been some temporary fixes to the issues, but leaders are still searching for something permanent.
I feel like the keys are always going to be an issue, though, because you don't want to have so many copies of the same key, or so many of the same locks, because if somebody can get a hold of that key.
Right. In 2022, voters rejected a millage in the election that could have addressed these issues, but at the time of this article being written, it said it will be up to the county commissioners if the issue makes it to the ballot again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it did. But Captain Stewart concludes, we have some amazing staff, some of the best professionals I've ever worked with, and they're working in inhumane conditions. So at least the people there are trying to get to the right people to make it better for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then I found a really cool photo gallery on, I believe it's teroyamasaki.com. And this is a photographer who actually went to one of the prisons and took photos of just like daily life in the prison with the inmates. And this is a story that won the Pulitzer Prize in journalism for feature photography in 1981. And according to the story, at that time, understaffing and inmate overcrowding, again, were such a severe issue that both inmates and guards claimed that it was easier to get their hands on weapons, drugs, and alcohol inside the prison than it was in the streets. So there's certainly a pattern we're seeing here.
Yeah.
So now that we got all that out of the way, back to the original structure and what it is today. And the ghosts.
Okay.
We're here. So
it was a long road, but we're here.
We're here. I'm sorry. I found it very interesting.
It really was.
I'm glad. The prison has been renovated into a residential property.
Why? What?
Yes, it is.
Wait.
People live there. They're apartments now.
The look you just give me, like, come on, I need your reaction.
Guess what?
Why?
It's very exciting. They've really made an effort to maintain the prison's history while also creating a brighter future for the structure.
Oh,
that's their goal. It's now a community of artists, which is really fun. Every apartment retains some of the original architectural elements of the prison, ranging from iron bars on the windows to exposed brick walls with cell numbers still painted on. In a studio where the size of the cramped cells is apparent from arches in the ceiling, one resident teaches affordable art classes to local children and adults, hoping to tap into their talents. And there's an artist who creates ceramics who moved into a corner apartment, and there was particularly jagged brickwork along one of the walls. And she used the broken and uneven bricks to display small pottery items. So they're into it. They're using it all. And after 2007, when the Southern Michigan Correctional Facility was finally closed, several film crews used the old cell blocks to film movies, including Stone, Conviction, starring Hilary Swank, and Street Boss.
Oh, shit.
None of which I've seen, but
no.
Exciting.
I love Hilary Swank.
Now, even though the original prison is now a vibrant residential neighborhood, they're happy to allow visitors and tour groups inside. And according to historic prison tours, they offer a first-hand look at the former prison's amazing architecture, the eerie basement, which is where there was solitary confinement, and it now hosts the Cell Block 7 Museum, as well as ghost hunts. So Judy Krasnow, who wrote this book, now lives in the prison and has since 2007 when the apartments opened. And she is actually the founder of the Ghost Tour Company. So she is into it. So reading this book gave me a lot of insight into what she experiences living there. And she believes that the most famous prisoners' spirits remain trapped on the prison grounds. And she's obviously had a ton of experiences that she believes prove this. So when Judy first moved into her apartment about 2 weeks into her visit when her belongings arrived, she was unpacking and she placed 6 glass-blown figures of musicians on 4 shelves that were hung on the wall in the corner. And after she put them up, the shelves started to bounce up and down like from the corners. So she grabbed the figurines that she could and placed them down quickly. And as she did, the top shelf flew off the wall toward her. and then reversed, landing on top of the figures, but it didn't shatter or splinter them like you'd expect. According to her, instead, it crushed them so much it left like a colored snow material, and it just fell into a mound on the floor. The next day, Judy had her files in plastic milk crates stacked atop one another, and she watched as the top crate was lifted from the stack and flew above the stairwell, dumping the files down the stairs. Which is just an asshole thing to do. Like, that's just rude.
I mean, look at the bullshit that happened to them. You ought to be grateful while you're getting your shit thrown. That's it.
Right. So when this happened, this is when Judy reached out to Catherine Ewart Benson, who is the granddaughter of Albert Ewart, who we talked about earlier. And Catherine brought a crucifix to hang on the wall.
And it was so.
It was the crucifix that hung on the wall of her grandfather's office in the prison. So she hung it on Judy's wall above the staircase. And when she did, according to Judy, being Jewish, she looked up and called out, "Grandma, trust me, wherever you are, I'm not converting. This is just a very particular situation." She didn't want to piss off Grandma, but she was afraid of ghosts too. So it was kind of a catch-22.
I'm just trying to do everything I can.
Grandma or ghosts, I don't know. Fortunately for her, though, it did help and nothing else was broken, but experiences didn't stop. Instead, her music boxes would all begin playing one after another, starting at 12:01 a.m. for 6 weeks. Then, Judy had 10 frogs that would light up when moisture touched them, and they sat on, according to her, a moisture-free ledge, and they would all light up at 4 p.m. every single day until the batteries finally died on all of them 3 weeks later. And then one night while Judy was cooking dinner, she heard what sounded like a crackling fire. I don't like this one.
Oh, boy.
And when she turned around, the TV turned itself on.
No.
But the background of the TV remained black. And I'm nervous.
Stop. I've got goosebumps.
And in the screen, she could see the face of a man, and he was wearing a suit and tie. She said he looked like a man in one of the prison photos. The TV stayed on for about 30 seconds before it turned itself off. And then the same thing happened a couple minutes later. And then that was it. It never happened again.
I mean,
I have goosebumps.
Was it somebody finally at peace? If it didn't happen again.
A lot of other things happened, though. During a meeting in one of the artist studios, the heavy closed door opened by itself. So Judy politely asked the invisible cause of the door opening to close it. Whether they came in or stayed out, just close it. And they obliged. She was very nice about it. She's like, "I don't mind if you're in here, but please close the door. We're having a meeting." And they closed the door.
I'm not trying to heat the outside.
So other people have reported that dogs that come onto the premises bark at seemingly nothing. And a repairman who was initially a night watchman would hear dogs barking that were not there. The sounds of a whiplashing, screams echoing in the tunnels. Because keep in mind, I didn't mention this. There are tunnels below the prison.
Of course there are.
And the sounds of footsteps walking behind him. But when he turned around, no one would be there. This also happened to another watchman who was hired in at the same time as him. And despite the high pay, after just 3 days, both of the men quit. But it wasn't bad enough to where he quit the prison. He just didn't want to be a night watchman. So he became a repairman.
Oh.
So must have not been that bad. In one apartment, there's a picture that keeps flying off the wall above the mantle. And the artist took a photo of it and captured an orb by that particular photo. And when Judy was walking through the tunnels with a photographer, she described feeling the presence of 3 men behind her and felt as if she was being pushed. When the photographer took a photo of her, he captured 3 orbs in the photo behind Judy. She suspected that it could have either been 3 prisoners thinking she was a guard or 3 guards thinking she was an escaping prisoner. And while the Grand Rapids NBC affiliate was recording on the historic prison tours, their equipment was shut off 6 different times. But Judy saved the day when she had a talk with the old inmates.
Oh, God bless Judy.
You looked. I didn't. Don't do that.
I looked right at you.
You looked like you looked around me. Don't.
I'm looking directly in your soul.
I'm gonna need you to sit still, okay? Calm down.
I just looked at you.
But you leaned like you were looking
I'm
around
looking around
me.
my microphone.
Don't do that.
Okay.
God. Anyway, Judy saved the day when she had a talk with the old inmates and she asked them to stop and just let them get their work done. And they didn't have any other problems. They stopped after that.
Oh, thanks, Judy.
Thanks, guys. When a paranormal group with EVP equipment showed up, Judy asked who broke her figurines, and they got Oris. She couldn't figure out if it was saying Lawrence or Horace, but it continued, Oris Murphy, murdered in cell.
Oh.
And there was indeed a Horace Murphy who was in Jacktown. So that fucker sounds like he's the one that busted all of her figurines.
Come on, Horace.
When she asked who turned the music boxes on, she received prankster here, prankster there, along with another voice who said, Reverend visits, Reverend here. There was also one spirit in particular who was appropriately named the Crow. Pervs, who we talked about earlier, wrote about the Crow in his reports. In a center cell, which is now where Judy's apartment is, an inmate would caw loudly like a crow. Constantly. He was pissing everybody off. But nobody snitched because you're a snitch.
Snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches. So nobody snitched, but everyone fucking hated this guy. And the guards, because of the echo, they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Bastards. Still, till this day, it remains a mystery. But then one day, Judy, she said she was used to all kinds of birds landing on her window ledge. But one day in particular, she heard an obnoxiously loud caw. Checking the window, there sat a huge crow. It was looking into her apartment and continued to caw. She tried to shoo it away, but it wouldn't leave, so she cawed back at it, but it just continued. Finally, she asked if it was the inmate who reincarnated as the animal he imitated all those years ago. It responded by tapping its beak on the glass 3 times, cawing one last time, and then flying away. She's never seen a crow since, and according to her, the area does not have crows, so I don't know.
My girl is having, such a positive attitude towards all of this happening.
She loves it.
She's keeping it calm. She is the calmness in this storm.
Yeah. And she still does tours there, too. So you could get her as a tour guide.
That is crazy to me.
So today, Judy, speaking of calm, Judy says that things have calmed down quite a bit, and she doesn't find the prison scary anymore. She says it actually feels very safe, being that it's a fortress. And she also believes that energy replaces energy, and the artists have brought a really nice energy to the building. Despite that, she believes the building can never fully get rid of its past and those who have been in it. So the energy lies within the walls with many stories to tell. So that was everything I got from Judy in her book. Now I just have a few miscellaneous hauntings that people have experienced. Ghost Hunters from Haunted Travels of Michigan and Highland Ghost Hunters. which is very local,
Mm-hmm.
explored the old prison in 2012. They spent quite a bit of time exploring the basement and underground tunnels, and while little was heard in the tunnels, several people said they smelled the sporadic scent of gardenia
Hmm.
and felt the presence of a woman. Weird. As they...
Nana!
Oh, God. I hope not. As they crawled through the dank 3 by 4 foot east tunnel. Residual sounds, this is one you hear a lot, that there are residual sounds of riots that are also frequently reported. And there's a story by a man named Gene Favors online, who was a gravedigger at the prison. And in this story, he shared his experiences. He said he dug graves just outside of the compound from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. unless he was ordered to work overtime. Before he got started, he would pull table salt and wooden stakes out of a brown leather bag and sprinkle a circle of salt around the grave and drive the 6-inch stakes into the ground to protect himself from being attacked and possessed by hostile spirits. He dug 6-foot holes for single corpses until Boot Hill became overcrowded and then had to double bunk the graves. The prisoners' cemetery was named Boot Hill because prisoners were buried in their boots on top of a hill. Clever. If you were in the 16-block unit, you could look out your window and see old wooden crosses and deteriorated headstones. On lunch breaks, he enjoyed walking around Boot Hill, reading headstones with names, dates, and prisoner ID numbers. And sometimes he'd hear screams for mercy from dead prisoners. I believe those screams came from prisoners who were brutally attacked in Jackson State Prison. Their souls refused to cross over to an afterlife. On rainy work days, I would place plastic over the 6-foot holes and hide in a grave eating cucumbers until the thunder and lightning stopped. At night, rebellious ghosts would make cell calls and haunt the cell blocks seeking revenge. One late night, he witnessed Brother Abdullah's silhouette with a rope hanging around his neck from the bunkhead in 4 block. Prison legend has it that the dead prisoners' spirits were so haunting in 4 block and 16 block that prison officials had to demolish them. An exorcism was required before they could rebuild 4 block. And according to Steve Rudolph, who we talked about earlier, who's a tour guide, he said, quote, "We were down here and I had about 14, 15 people. One of them had a service dog, and this dog you hadn't heard a peep out of." And I watched the interview. He actually called the dog a gentleman as well, which I thought was just adorable.
That's so sweet.
I'm down here telling them about the history of this place, and I hear this dog. The dog is right here, and he's looking over there, and there's nobody over there. And I hear this, and Steve makes this really deep, guttural growl sound. Everybody backed away from him, and the next thing you know, he was back to normal.
Yep.
Steve has also said that he's had some people on tours who refuse to even go down the stairs to solitary confinement, and others who go down the stairs, round the corner, and go right back up just because of the feeling down there. One resident who's a painter often has things disappearing in his apartment, and his paintbrushes in particular love to disappear. And one day he found them on top of a cabinet, which didn't make sense.
Somebody's artistic.
And Judy has a couple spirits that she believes are there specifically. One of them is that of Hannibal the bear. I don't know his story. She did not specify. For the most part, we just know he was a tall, heavy, hairy man with a bad temper and a growling voice who was incarcerated in 1878 and spent the equivalent of 4 of his 8 years in prison and solitary. And she also believes another spirit that's returned is the cruel and sadistic warden, John Morris, which is not a presence you would want.
No.
So in general, people who have visited or investigated the old prison have seen apparitions, heard unearthly moans, phantom screams, doors slamming, banging on pipes, etc. And a lot of people are certain they've been touched by some unseen presence. Which I'd be curious. I couldn't find anything specifically about women, but you see a lot, like on those ghost shows in prisons, women usually get it pretty bad.
Yeah, no. I'm not okay.
So after an extensive history of riots, neglect, escapes, wrongful deaths, sickness, torture, cruelty, and abuse, it's no wonder Jackson State Prison is so haunted.
Oh my God. Disgusting.
The end.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm not well.
So we'll talk to everyone and we'll figure out our date for when we're gonna go.
So excited. Can't wait.
Yeah. That's it. That's one I've wanted to look into for a long time. So I know it was really long, so if you stuck in there, thank you so much. Believe me, that was only part of the research. There's so much more.
That was great.
Well, thank you.
That was fantastic.
There was a lot. Honestly, finding this book changed it for me. I was able to get so much out of it. So thank you so much, Judy, for writing this book.
Way to go, Judy.
So remember, if you liked it, subscribe, rate, review, send to a friend, do all the things. Share it with somebody. And if you'd like to keep up with us, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. Go to our personal Instagrams too. We share stuff there.
I certainly do.
And a lot of cat photos. If you like cats, go to Candace's.
Stop it.
I'm not joking.
Do I? My little
Bob. It's very fun. My boyfriend Bob is on there a lot.
He's so famous.
If you have your own spooky stories you'd like to share with us, you can email those to hauntedthroughtheages@gmail.com. And if you would like access to early episodes, bonus episodes, and access to our special after hours chats, make sure you join our Patreon linked below. Get all the good stuff there.
Thank you for everybody that's already reached out and have us on the hunts for new stories.
And our beautiful patrons, thank you so much.
Thank you to our beautiful patrons.
Thank you for being there. It's a wild time over there, so
it truly
go join.
It truly is.
Do you want to give us a hint for where we're going next week before we go?
We are heading out to Long Beach.
If you listen to our Patreon, you will already know the answer because it slipped on there.
Whoops. It's fine.
Long Beach, California.
Everybody knows that I already can't keep secret, so girl, there is no secret keeping in my brain.
It'll be our first California episode.
Yeah, I'm finally coming out of Michigan. Yay.
Finally.
Going west.
All right.
Anakin.
Don't do that to me.
He's like, you're done. You're done.
We made it through all of this before you scared me. Okay, well, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.